Hi, my name is Natasha Wellfare. I'm a mental health counsellor, and one of my areas of special interest is working with parents and with children. And in this short video, I want to talk a little bit about how to discuss what's currently happening in Ukraine with your children. So firstly, I want to outline the challenge in addressing this sensitive topic. We want children to feel safe. Part of our role is to sort of reassure them, but at the same time, we don't want them to sort of feel so safe that they end up feeling that this is something that they don't need to worry about. This is something that's happening to other people, and something that is nothing to do with them. So that I really feel is the challenge with this, that we give them enough information, but that we don't frighten them. So let's talk about a starting point. And I think the starting point has to be checking in with ourselves first. So are we in a good place to have this discussion? Do we feel grounded? Do we feel like, we understand our own feelings about what's going on? If we're suffering with a lot of anxiety around this, it might not be a great time to broach it with children. In transactional analysis, we talk about being in your adult ego state. So being in the here and now, feeling really grounded, having all of your good resources to hand. And really, when we address this topic with children, we want to be in our adult ego state. So that's really important. So I would start a discussion with children about this with a couple of questions. So I would really want to know what they know first. So one question that's really good to begin with: what do you already know? What have you heard? Have you talked about it at school? Have you seen anything on the television? And just get a sense for what they already know. And then another question which could be really useful is actually asking specifically, what do you want to know? Because actually, if we don't ask children that, there might be one burning question, one thing that they really want to know about, but if we didn't ask them, they might not have realised to tell us. So just test the waters a little bit to begin with. And know that if children don't seem that interested in talking about this, that's absolutely fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean they're uncaring in some way. That's absolutely fine. Just, maybe you can come back to it later. I'm sure they'll let you know if they do want to talk about it. And you can always just say at that point, if you do ever want to discuss this, come and find me. It's always fine for us to talk about it. So, be very comfortable with just, leaving it alone if they're not showing interest. So let's talk a little bit about younger children. So a couple of pointers with younger children, or perhaps children who are a little bit more sensitive, perhaps they might be a little bit frightened about some of the things that they've seen or heard. Keep your language really clear and really simple in the way that you talk about it. Something that you can do is to perhaps get a map and start to get a sense of the geography. So you can talk about where Ukraine is, where Russia is, and just get, give the child a sense of, if we were to get on an aeroplane, this is how far it would take for us to get to that part of the world. And that, potentially might be a little bit reassuring if a child is really fearful and really frightened. Speak clearly about what's happening. Give the children facts. Tell them that Ukraine has been invaded by Russia. Like I said previously, keep your language really simple and really clear. And talk about the neighbours as well, though. Talk about how, there are other neighbours surrounding Ukraine that are helping. And perhaps you can talk a little bit about, what those neighbouring countries are doing to help. So we're giving children, a balanced picture of, the really awful things that are happening, but also some of the good things that the neighbouring countries are trying to do to help. Let's talk a little bit about older children. So I think with older kids, you want to sort of research together. So you want to kind of be a bit of a team on this. So don't feel like as a parent you need to have all of the answers, you need to know everything. Often parents will say to me, but I don't feel like I can talk to them about it because I don't know all of the history, I don't know all of the geography. Don't worry about that. In actual fact, it's better that you show your children how to be resourceful. Let's look it up, let's see what we can find. And it's really important to talk to them about the reliability of news sources as well. So you can explore that a little bit together, and you can sort of talk about how, everything that you see in the media, it's not necessarily an accurate depiction of what's going on. And that's a really, really useful lesson for slightly older children. A couple of points just to finish off with. I think it's important to offer a message of hope, without overdoing it, but perhaps explain to children what you hope for. So I hope that this will be peacefully resolved. I really hope that negotiations can take place. I hope that the Ukrainian people will be able to go back to their homes, the ones that have left. And, it's without sort of sugarcoating it too much. Explain to children what you hope will happen. So you're sharing your message of hope with them. And the final point is really important, I think. Take some action together with your child, whatever feels appropriate. So perhaps you can sign an online petition together. Perhaps you can donate some money, collect some resources. Perhaps you'll share something on social media, but really do that action together so that the children can get a sense that they're not completely helpless, that there are things that we can do to help. So I hope some of this has been useful. Feel confident in having this conversation. It's an important one. And as I said, don't feel that you have to know everything. Just be open to exploring this.